I'm gonna say this up front. Harry has become dangerous to himself, to his family, and to anybody who listens to his word salad-laden drivel. In his interview with Dr. Gabor Mate, he not only talked again about his trauma of losing his mother and his many attempts at therapy, but also about two delicate topics such as trying different drugs for relief of his condition and at the same time Mate diagnosing him with attention deficit disorder just by reading his memoirs Spare. I wish I was making this up. So in this video, I'm going to expose how the life of just Harry has evolved from pathetic puppet jokes to a dangerous and reckless influence on people with actual trauma. And it all boils down to his indulging in psychological wounding, and you're about to find out why. Welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. But before we get started, I want to talk about today's video sponsor, Private Internet Access, which is my VPN of choice. Because browsing the internet without a VPN is like having a huge billboard over your head that displays all your internet activity, including your lousy memes, your browsing history, and even your messages. Private Internet Access makes sure that nobody can spy on your internet activity, including your internet service provider, so you and your loved ones can access the web privately and safely. It also happens to me all the time that I want to access region-locked content on streaming services. For example, Netflix has different content libraries depending on your physical location, or the BBC's online streaming that can only be accessed from within the UK. It's only thanks to Private Internet Access that I can unlock all the content I need from anywhere in the world. Not to mention that you might get better deals in online shopping when you use your VPN to change your current location. What I love the most is that Private Internet Access is extremely easy to use. It only requires one click of a button and your privacy is guaranteed. Now, here's the kicker. If you use my special link in the description of this video, you get an 83% discount. That's just a little more than $2 a month. And you also get 4 months of Private Internet Access for free. And since Private Internet Access comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support, it's all risk-free for you. So use my link and get Private Internet Access today. So there are many concerning moments about this interview and the implications that Harry's drug use can have in the general public, because yes, there are still people that are in pain or are dealing with some kind of trauma, and this is not the best way to address those situations. I'm going to start with this. Prince Harry diagnosed with attention deficit disorder by trauma expert. And just for the record, I doubt that you could make an actual diagnosis of ADD or ADHD in less than 6 months of observations of any patient. But we got this. When I read your book as a clinician, this is Dr. Mate, you can agree or disagree, but I come up with several diagnoses that seem to go on in the book. Whether you like it or not, I diagnosed you with ADD, okay? It takes one to know one. I share that diagnosis. As some people pointed out on Twitter, this is not something that you disclose publicly unless they had talked about that previously, beforehand, because this is very private matters. He continued to say Harry could do what he wanted with it, adding, "I'm just saying." Yeah, that is his way of saying allegedly. He doesn't want to get sued. And with the articles being so happy, that could happen. That can be a thing. I don't see it as a disease. I see it as a normal response to abnormal stress, he said. When a kid is in a stressful environment, one way they cope with it, they scatter their attention, they remove themselves from the stress, and I think there's a lot of stress in your life. All this is in the words of Dr. Gabor Mate. And by the way, I think there's a lot of stress in your life. I wonder what kind of stress can be Harry going through right now. I'm trying to use my imagination, and I just can't come up with being worried about photographs of him not having the right amount of Photoshop, or which gray suit is he going to wear today. It could be difficult to make such a choice every day, or he is running out of Dodger anecdotes for his interviews. That is also concerning. That could be the source of Harry's stress. Now that's when we land in the concerning part, the thing that actually worries me. Prince Harry has revealed that using marijuana and psychedelics help him deal with trauma in his life. And in his own words, cocaine didn't do anything for me. It was more a social thing and gave me a sense of belonging for sure. I think it probably also made me feel different to the way I was feeling, which was kind of the point. This is actually quite dangerous. Even if he's implying that that white powder did not work for him the way he wanted, at least it gave him a sense of belonging. Now, I'm going to ask you a very simple question. How many people do you think in these days are looking for a sense of belonging? Especially young adults, especially young people, teenagers. I'm not saying that teenagers are going to automatically listen to Gingerbread, but he has a huge platform and everything he says has ripples in the public opinion. So he has a responsibility over that platform and over that audience. And so many people that are looking for a sense of belonging that this could give them the wrong idea of where can they find solace, where can they find a solution. And also, it also made me feel different to the way I was feeling. Absolutely vague, because were you feeling, I guess that he was feeling bad. So it made him feel different, so he was feeling good. Something that can be implied, and what can be implied will be misinterpreted by desperate people. This is something that's going to happen. And then he says, marijuana is different. That actually really did help me. This is so broad because we have two variants, so to speak, of this. You know, the recreational one and the medical one. And this is a discussion that always sparks on my Twitter replies. Like, I cannot talk about recreational marijuana when everybody who has been benefited to some extent from CBD, well, they jump to claim that I don't know what I'm talking about. And yes, I know what I'm talking about. Don't take my word for it. We're going to see on Harvard Health Publishing, which, well, you still have to take that with a grain of salt. You always have to do your due diligence, no matter who is the person you're talking to. But, well, this doctor, Peter Grinspoon, is pro-CBD. And, well, patients do, however, report many benefits of CBD, from relieving insomnia, anxiety, spasticity, and pain to treating potentially life-threatening conditions such as epilepsy. This is a fact, something that has happened. People have benefited from this, but always under close medical supervision, because even Dr. Grinspoon, who is pro-CBD, acknowledges the following. We don't have rigorous studies and gold standard proof of the benefits and risks of medical marijuana. Important to know, and this is a doctor on Harvard Health Publishing. Again, I am not endorsing Harvard Health Publishing. You know that they have claimed things in the past that maybe not everybody agrees with at this point, but he's right in something. I often hear complaints from other doctors that there isn't adequate evidence to recommend medical marijuana, but there is even less scientific evidence for sticking our heads in the sand. And that's something I agree with him to some extent. If we want to try new ways of solving pain, of solving crippling, life-threatening conditions, yes, you have to try those new things. So baby steps in these matters are essential. This should not be discarded, but be treated with scientific rigor. Now, there's not much scientific rigor in the way Meghan and Harry have talked at some points of their lives about these recreational drugs. So you might remember that Meghan Markle boasted to friends about giving out marijuana in party bags to guests at her first wedding in Jamaica, where cannabis was illegal, leaked emails reveal. And you will also remember the day Archie was born. That recollections might vary, but Harry got high on laughing gas. Meg was so calm. I was calm too, but I saw two ways of enhancing my calm. A canister of laughing gas beside Meg's bed. I took several slow, penetrating hits. I took several more hits, and now I was bouncing too. And when the nurse came and she was going to offer Meg some of that laughing gas, the canister was empty. And well, they took that as a joke. Oh, gracious, the husbands had it all. I guess this is a cool way of talking about this topic. Like you are the cool neighborhood kid who has tried all these drugs and can talk about them casually. But there's nothing casual about the way Harry goes around his victimhood, his professional victimhood, over and over again. And one can ask, how come you have been through so much therapy and you're still trying to push this publicly on the world? It's insane, especially when you mix that with supposed drugs helping you cope in any way with this. And this is where it becomes relevant to talk about psychological wounding. Psychological wounding is the scars that anybody can have from an abusive parent or a spouse or losing a loved one or any traumatic event. But under normal circumstances, people don't actively seek to indulge in, scratching those scars. People could be traumatized by those events, but our natural drive is to try to put these things behind us, whether it's through therapy or any other method. You have to be a masochist to keep going through these psychological wounds. Sounds familiar? But some personalities not only hang on to these scars, but they also go out of their way to indulge in circumstances or events or even perceptions that would confirm that pain that they want to perpetuate. For example, in Harry's case, whether subconsciously or consciously, he reinforces the trauma of losing his mother by arguing that he also metaphorically lost his father and brother, in terms that their racism, or should I say, unconscious bias, forced him to take Meghan away from them. Again, the person is gonna craft this sort of echo chamber for their pain, and instead of trying to solve it, he's gonna try to nurture it as much as possible. That's how they enter this vicious cycle in which they feel hurt, they look for confirmation to that pain, even if that confirmation is only in their heads, so they feel even worse about themselves, so they look after more confirmation over and over again. That explains how Harry's attitude, behavior, and body language has deteriorated through the years. It's a downward spiral. It's been fed every time he repeats this quest for pity. It is not surprising that many people that fall into this trap look for drugs in order to cope with the physical symptoms of such victimhood attitude. Because after that sudden dopamine hit of confirming that, oh, poor me, they are going to experience heavy depression, and their only way to feel better is to continue the cycle. Not to mention looking for other ways to cope physically. That's why I think Harry is becoming dangerous to himself. This downward spiral creates changes in behavior, changes in thinking, and can severely affect the person's relationships. So yes, he's also dangerous to his family, and I don't think that this is a statement worthy of any joke. There is a point of no return where, unless the person has a very close circle of people who are absolutely invested in his well-being, they could even think that even those who want to help are being condescending, or that they do not empathize with his pain. In this case, the closest person to Harry is, of course, Meghan. Do you think Meghan is invested in Harry's well-being? I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. My Royal Rogues, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, I'm the Royal Rogue, and remember to download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. Remember the two most important words: much love and bliss.